not kind of fitting in with men in general, and part of that's just societal expectations that we have on men and masculinity that aren't really tied to our gender who we're attracted to. It's a very, very difficult thing to step outside of your paradigm and risk living in the gray and not understanding how the world works. It's a very scary thing. It takes a lot of maturity. Also, it says in the scriptures, in heaven we will neither be married nor given into marriage, for we will be like the angels. And if God is a God of functionality, if you resurrect with your body, with your organs, why do you have those organs? If you're going to be using those organs, who are you going to be using them with, if outside of marriage?
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Unbiased Dating Podcast. I'm Jay, your host, and our co-host, Bryant, here.
What's up, guys?
We have a special person in here.
What's going on?
Awesome. If you can speak your name, it's
Grand.
See,
Grand.
See,
like grand piano. Spelled like grande, so...
Yeah, I got it way wrong.
If you're Mexican, grande. If you're Portuguese, grande. If you're French, grande.
You see, he's got... Woo!
See, in Português?
Português. Você fala português?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I speak no Portuguese, but
yeah,
I've heard a lot of it. I've heard a lot of it.
Yeah, and like...
Mostly whispered into my ear as I go to sleep.
Oh, that's
who?
Nice. That's
who
nice.
speaks Portuguese, or do you listen to certain things in your ears while you sleep?
No.
Yeah, I do. All the time.
Although that would probably be a good way to learn the language.
Oh, probably, definitely.
Better than as I'm being choked out or tapped out.
Oh,
at home?
I'm really curious about the situation.
Not at home. Not at home.
There's so many contexts that could be happening.
There are.
Yep.
So many contexts.
Those we actually might hop into if you guys are open to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
open anything.
Oh, but mainly I wanted to sit with you because there are some who are like, he's weird. It's not supposed to be like that, as in you are gay, right?
Yes.
So
I like men.
Yeah. So steamy. Sheesh. Okay.
Exactly.
Dang. So like up to the point.
Blush. Jay's blushing.
It's my light right here. No. So like with that, you hold on. We'll jump into that. Sheesh. No. So with that, yeah, like you have so many people who are like, oh, you can't be because of XYZ, because if you're Christian and all that, we will hop into that. So
you brought the right person.
Dang,
people are about to be floored. You ain't never seen anything on YouTube like this.
Dang, oh, it's about to get it's about to get juicy. So for me, I was raised to be like, oh, they're gay, all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, I can't be like, I would say like around people like that, or you will be gay, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, cool, and then. As I'm like out here, I would say more around people, like around like in life, right? It's like, oh, well, why are they that way? So I just want to sit with you to be like, so you are a human being that actually thinks still. It's not like, oh, they're weird, they're all this extra stuff that's happening. Like for me, I'm like, just be you,
right?
Yeah, like you're awesome, they're, and like it's like it hurts me to hear people are like, who is this guy? I'm like, do you even speak to him? No, he's weird because he's I should say, for what you are, as in for how many things you can do, like speak French, you can speak Italian?
No.
Portuguese.
So
apparently.
French.
Yeah.
Okay. French and English. Got him. Okay.
French.
Spanish is like, but I can read Spanish perfectly because it's so similar to French,
yeah.
right? And if you have the accent down, and because I'm an actor, I'm able to just go through it, right? And I understand a lot from just like seeing the cognates and all that stuff.
You're actor too. You're a songwriter. You're a composer. You're a
conductor.
Singer.
I do interior design. I do fashion. I do philosophy.
Bruh.
A lot of stuff. I'm a penseagrande. That's what I do for work. Penseagrande.
Yeah.
Penseagrande.
Yeah, he was like,
not panza.
Panza? Okay, so you know what's funny? This is actually unrelated, but when I do diction training classes on this app called HelloTalk, Some of you guys might have seen me on there. But so people will ask me my name because Grande is a popular name and Grande kind of is a name, but not as a first name. You know what I mean? And my last name is Coles, Coles. And I was talking to somebody, a Spanish speaker, either a Spanish speaker or a Portuguese speaker, I can't remember. But and they were like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Grande Coles." And they're like, "Really? Grande Coles?" And they were like, that means big cabbages. So I'm big cabbages.
I love it.
It's pretty great.
Oh my gosh. So okay, I'll just hop into it. So like, at what point, because I've heard, around. You're like, you aren't straight. So, but at what age or all that stuff did you?
That's a complex question because, well, the first thing I think to remember is that our idea of what our identity is always molding, and our identity can exist in the moment, but then after time passes, when we reflect on who we thought we were. Even that reflection and memory of when I was 5, I remember this happening, is being influenced by who you are today. So you have to take all those things into consideration. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when I hear people tell their stories, we kind of forget that, right? You, like, for example, remembering this thing that happened to you when you were, say, 7 years old at somebody's birthday party. After your life experiences, and let's say you're like 50 years old, you may think about those things or see those images in your mind, and they actually they mean something different to you at that point. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So our awakening into our identity and understanding who we are is not a cut and dry process. And so I think that floor has to be cleared. And then back to your specific question, you asked me, what did you say?
Yeah, age.
Age?
As in how you're like...
A specific age. I remember... So here's some big things I remember. I remember not kind of fitting in with men in general, and part of that's just societal expectations that we have on men and masculinity that aren't really tied to our gender who we're attracted to. But I remember, for example, going to Build-A-Bear. I think when I was 6 years old, I had a birthday party, and I built this bear, obviously Build-A-Bear, and I wanted to put it in a wedding dress, and I was like, I want to get married, and my mom was like, you can't do that. And my sister was like, yes, he can, and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know this whole dialogue was going on in the background, but I do remember my mom telling me that's not okay to put this bear in a dress. I also remember trying on my mom's heels, which actually is funny. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, I'm not your average gay. Like, I'm not the stereotypical gay. But as I've reflected more on my life, I'm like, maybe I am, I'm like, I've seen these ads, trying to promote, that's not a right word. Normalize homosexuality, right? Be it good or be it bad, right? And you'll see the picture of the little boy, and he's putting on makeup, and he's in his mom's dress, and his dad comes in and goes, no, and then he's crying, and then now he's some strong gay man in the future, whatever, right? These kind of advertisements, we see them. And we used to think about it, I'm like, that kind of stuff never happened to me, and I'm like, wait, actually it has. Like, not the makeup stuff, but me wearing my mom's heels, and different things like that.
Quick question. You weren't a Dennis Rodman fan?
Who's Dennis Rodman?
Okay.
That answers it. No.
Yep, that answers it completely.
Well, actually, I might have seen him and not know.
Here, I'll put it up on the...
He married Carmen Electra. Dennis Rodman was a basketball player. Played basketball professionally. Was on the Bulls with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, was more famous for his fashion and the fact that he got married to Carmen Electra in a wedding dress.
Okay.
Yeah. So they got married and were both in wedding dresses. So then. Oh. Okay. So.
Yeah, all that stuff, I did not know.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
You're too young.
No, I was all about about.
Wait a minute, how old are you?
39.
Really? And you?
The 36, I think.
36, okay.
I think.
You said you were too young. I'm like, what creams are you using, bro? If you're like 60, I don't know. You gotta share it because I was raised black don't crack. And you
fresh.
Hey.
Yeah. So.
It's those Viking jeans. It's Viking jeans.
Oh, Viking.
Oh my God, with the Viking stuff. No, I'm kidding.
Van Dutch.
Hey.
Up in here.
Dang. Sure. Fresh.
I apologize. Please continue.
He's like, where was it?
Yeah, where were we?
So heels and
talking
all that
about
kind of stuff.
When you first
right. So we had the heels thing. We also had, I think, a pivotal moment for me where I remember being obsessed with this guy when I was in 4th grade. at my school, and I think my sister knew what that was. I don't think I really knew what that was, but I just was like, oh, every time I was around him, I was like, yes. Yes. And my mom was always trying to shut it down. And I remember also growing up, my mom always saying stuff to me like, I know how you are.
Oh,
I know what you are. I know, things like that. And,
sheesh.
And let me just preface by saying we have an okay relationship right now. And I know that she loves me, but it's a very, very difficult thing to step outside of your paradigm and risk living in the gray and not understanding how the world works. It's a very scary thing. It takes a lot of maturity. So I can have compassion for her in that way. But nonetheless, those comments were kind of made all the time about me. And it was so fascinating because at the time I did not accept homosexuality at all. At all. I hated it, actually. I thought I was raised thinking it was bad and everything. So I'd be like, what are people talking about? And why do people ask me if I'm gay all the time? You know what I mean? So that was interesting. I had friends that were girls. I had more friends that were girls than were guys. I also remember, this is a funny one. So, I think it was maybe in 4th grade or 5th grade, but in biology when you start learning about the human anatomy, right? And so you got the picture of the vagina, you got the picture of the penis, and I remember sitting there, and I wasn't looking at the vagina. I was curious about the penis. I was looking, I was like,
for what?
Something about the way it's shaped, something about it's just right. I don't know what it is. That's a real memory I have, but yeah. So there's that, and I also remember growing up and going over to my sister's house and watching shows like Glee and America's Next Top Model. And all of these artistic shows where a lot of times, be it a stereotype or not, there would be like a lot of gay men that would succeed in these fields, And in Glee in particular, I remember watching the dynamic between these two characters and like feeling something. I couldn't put it into words. I didn't know. But I just remember that aura. Something about that just felt safe. It felt like good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's a couple things.
Very interesting.
So you said fourth grade. It may not have been obvious to you, but was probably obvious to your sister.
Yeah.
When did you become conscious of the fact that you were attracted to men? And when did you want?
When did that thought, or when did that want?
When did that want? When did that desire, like the drive to actually like maybe actually like talk to a dude or
that drive probably started. It's so hard.
That's what she said.
Because it also... That's what I said.
That's also what he said.
That's what we say, guys. Let me see. Should I answer this? I'm not scared. I've written about everything. No, I don't care. I put it in songs. So it's also tied to like my sexual understanding is also tied to my relationship with pornography. So I remember like when I first started watching pornography, what kind of stuff I watched, and I remember that there was this turning point where when I was younger, I would only watch like cartoon stuff. I didn't want to see a real person. I don't want to see a real person. I would only watch cartoon stuff. It was me. And there was this turning point where I watched this video. And this video, the contents of it was like anal penetration at one point. And I was like, something about that like drew me. And I was like, I like this. You know what I mean? I like this a lot. And then I started watching more of more content in that area. And then I started watching men as well. So I remember that transition happening. And what was the question again?
At what age? At what age?
At what age? Okay, so that happened. But then there's the thing with the kid I talked to you about in 4th grade. And then as far as when I started really liking, like when I actually thought I want like to sleep with a man, like when did that happen? Probably in high school. Probably around freshman year.
So like 14.
So 15. This isn't like me having thoughts like, not me outrightly having thoughts in my brain, I want to sleep with that person. Because I wasn't even allowed to do that in my own mind. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
You can't think that. You can't even, you will go to hell, right? So, but I remember being in the guy's locker room and being like, I shouldn't be up in here. Guys just be walking out naked and I'm like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And this is really random, but I remember this specific moment in freshman year that this person came out and It was a black dude, and I'm not attracted to black dudes. Okay, so. But I remember him having all this lotion on, but he didn't even rub it in. It just looked so nasty. His ding-a-ling just had all this white stuff all over his body, his thighs, and it was just a mess. It was just a mess. And when all the boys be coming out and it's humid as hell in there, I was just like, what are you doing, boy? Your mama didn't teach you how to rub this shit in.
At least he knew he needed lotion, right? Like, at least he didn't walk out all ashy, but
I mean,
rub it in, but
I mean,
maybe
I don't
wanted
know.
somebody to rub it in for
I just remember it looked like he went cheek, like that. Like they were like mountains of lotion, and then it was that's a memory. I have that memory. So.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah,
dang.
So hearing you say I'll go to hell, you're raised Christian, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Baptist or some sort of devout
non-denominational, which is the most bullshit term on earth.
Foursquare or whatever.
We're non-denominational, but all you guys are wrong, except for us.
It's like, bruh.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How do you date?
Like, how do you find dates?
Yeah, but
how do I find dates? Okay, was a couple of things. I'm going to answer questions. I'm going to answer why. So, Grindr. Anywhere in life, honestly, like in the workplace, which some of you guys are going, what? In the workplace, honestly, anywhere. I've tried OkCupid. I love that app. I still feel like it's the best dating app I've ever been on.
Oh, apps. Okay.
Yeah, apps,
okay,
right?
Cupid.
I also
ask
ask people out on person, IRL. Yes, I'm
That's
bold
good.
as fuck.
That's
I
good.
just am.
That's good.
So I remember there's this guy down at the taco shop, and this man was boing. And I remember he was so fine that when I walked out, I forgot what he looked like. You know what I'm talking about? My brain was just kind of like, what?
Nah.
He was hot. And so I hope you don't see this for like a couple years. Actually, no, it'd be kind of funny if you did. That'd be hilarious. Not gonna lie.
You walk in there next week and he's like,
not gonna lie, yeah. But I was insecure and I was like, I know how this works. I know how life works. You don't wait for the stars to align. And sometimes when they do align, shit happens immediately after, and it's not A plus B equals C. So, but I was nervous and I was like, he's just kind of like right there, and I could just kind of say something. So, but he was packing up and he was leaving, and so he came. He left. And then his coworker was up front, and I was like, this guy, I was like, there's no way he's gay, right? But I could feel it. And it's weird about homosexuality and attraction is that there's almost this element of it that's like, it's literally like, it's biological in the sense that someone doesn't have to walk gay, look gay, sound gay, anything. You can feel it. I don't know how to describe it. Like the gaydar thing, it's a real thing. It's almost never off for me. It's almost never off for me.
Oh, you have him on lock. You said,
yeah. But I didn't know. But I was just attracted to him. But I was like, So I told her, I was like, the lady up front, I was like, this guy, he's like really attractive. Like, does he date? And she's like, oh yeah, he is gay, but he's kind of more focused on his career and he wants to become a pilot and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, here's my business card, and tell him like if I would like to go on a date, and if he's interested, he can contact me. So he didn't contact me for like 3 months or whatever. He just didn't contact me. 3 months went by, and I was like, okay, well, sometimes people don't respond. You know what I mean? Because anything could happen.
Unread.
So I didn't say anything in person. If you want something, you need to go grab it.
Oh,
you need to go grab it.
Yeah.
So I went in, and I was like, and he was there, and I was nervous. And this
you didn't go grab him, did you?
This is I did. No, I'm kidding. I was like, babe. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm more actually the opposite. I want that for me. Anyway. So I literally getting out of my car. I'm like, first step's the hardest. This is me. I'm panicking. I'm putting my leg out like this. Literally, I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna close the door. We're out of the door, doing this whole thing, and then I finally go up, and lo and behold, he's sitting right in front of the window. I'm like, couldn't he have been like on the other side of the room? He's like right there, right in front of everybody, right? So I go in, and then I sit down. I get some chips or whatever. And he comes by and he's like, hey, can I help you with something? And I was like, actually, yeah, I came in because I came in here before and I found you very attractive and I wanted to know if I could take you on a date.
That's what's up.
And he said, and he was like, oh, well, I'm really busy and I'm working on stuff and I'm actually not from here. I'm from Mexico. And that's all he said. And then he walked away and I was like, okay, no's a no. I respect that. But then it also wasn't a no because he came back over to me. He came back over to me and he's like, do you need anything else? I'm like, no. And that's the funny thing about a lot of these dating YouTube channels and videos, guys. If you've ever like gotten a piece of advice from somebody like these videos, and it's like, oh, well, when people are attracted to you, they will point their feet next to you. All you need to do is think of a situation where you didn't do that, where you liked somebody, to understand that that is not the end of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff, it's completely made up. But anyway, so I was like, well, he could like me, but I was like, I'm not going to walk back in here and make his work environment uncomfortable or be that person like that's doing that. So I was like, that's it. And that was it. And he never contacted me, and that's fine.
To add to your, I didn't point my toes at this person. I wasn't, I wasn't facing them.
Right.
At the same time, too, a rejection or a I'm over it, or this has run its course, or don't talk to me ever again, does not necessarily mean we will never ever speak again. We will never,
or even mean that's what they mean, right?
Because I mean, life is fluid, so people in life changes. But I've struggled throughout my life with the absolutes. Don't ever talk to me again, and I'm like, no. Whoa. And I'm floored by it, and I'm like, wow, never talk to me again, because I'm like, okay, I won't ever talk to you again, but like that, it has an effect. And obviously it stems from abandonment issues from my childhood, but
same here.
But I've learned, over time I've learned that given space, given time, time heals all, right?
Sometimes.
It's so true. For most people, I should say, time heals all, but those aren't, it's not the case. And even if you get shot down, right now, this time, who knows, 3 months, 1 year, 5 years down the road, you may bump into each other again and like, hey, divine timing.
Oh, I'm single now. Oh, you're ready?
Well, also the thing is too, like, you just know that saying no doesn't mean no. Like, for example, if I go, no, that doesn't mean no. If I go, no, that also doesn't mean no.
Right.
If I go, no, that also may not mean no. No, that probably means no.
Right.
Right. But there's so many different ways. And as an actor, I could totally see, like, I put on this, like, filter all the time, but I could totally see myself saying, like, oh, no, I really can't, when I was just scared. Because that's the person I used to be. I had people hit on me before that I was attracted to, but I didn't accept myself being a gay man at the time. And so I would have wanted to say yes, and I actually wanted to say yes in the moment, but my mouth just started talking, and I started saying, oh, well, I actually live in and I have to be at work tomorrow at 5 p.m.
You're like, what?
Right? But I'm not that person anymore, because I've done so much work on myself.
Yeah, how so?
In terms of communication.
Like, how do you know who you are now, as in being like, okay, I am who I am, here's it all.
How do I know who I am?
He's Popeye.
Now, as
I am who I am.
Oh.
I am that I am. No, don't burn me. We can't do that anymore. It's illegal.
Dang. Oh my gosh. Bro, you indeed. All right.
Yeah, I could quote scriptures off, like...
Yeah, I can. Yeah, he's a G.
But how do I know...
who you are now, as in, how did you grow? As in,
you're healing,
be like,
journey,
I don't know how this person's speaking to me because of how you were, and then you are now. You're like, oh shit, what's up?
Right.
Dang.
Hey, I'm healed. Come over now.
Shit.
Hey, you looking for a heal? Hey, I'm here. So it's a long journey, but I've told the story so many times I can do it quickly. So I was born into a family with a lot of mental illness. There was a lot of poverty. There was also drugs. I went through some abuse. My mother almost starved her. Starved me. I'm complete forgiveness here, and talk about this stuff. And again, that same thing that I talked about before, as far as compassion. I have a lot of compassion for people. So it's not coming from a place of anger, but so that you can understand this. But I went through a lot of difficult things growing up, and then at three, I was taken away from my parents, and then went through several foster care homes, lived with different people. Some of those people that took care of me died while I lived with them. Lost friends and things, experienced some physical abuse from people, some emotional abuse, things like that. Got separated from some of my siblings in the process. Some siblings I still haven't met to this day. And then I was stopped when I was 5 with 2 of my siblings into a family that was very caring and very ethical in a lot of ways, but also very traumatized and a part of an organization that feeds off of people's trauma, even if the organization itself doesn't know it does that. It feeds off of people's trauma in order to perpetuate the illusion of community, right? Because as human beings, we need safety, and so that's kind of how a lot of these religious institutions work. But this one kind of did it in a very direct way, and so those things obviously they harmed me growing up, and I kind of had what I like to call the James Bond syndrome. If you've ever seen, I think it's Skyfall, in the newest James Bond series, right? Where she says, the lady, she says, double agents, they make the best, or orphans make the best agents. Now, the reason why she says this, and it's so true if you've been through trauma, is because when you've been hurt as a child, there's this void inside of you that wants to be loved and also wants to protect other people from being unloved, right? And so you a cause may come to you, and it may not be by your choice. You may think it's your choice, but it's not necessarily your choice always on a conscious level, or at least on a subconscious level. And so, this religion to me, it became almost everything, and I got to be the hero, and I wanted to help everybody, I wanted to save everybody. And so how I processed my identity was all through that. So things like my sexuality, things like what I really think, what I really experience in life didn't really play into that. And furthermore, because these people had saved me, I totally had a hero sort of mindset towards them, that these are my heroes. So of course they feed me. Are you kidding me? They're feeding me, right? I have shelter. How could I say anything? How could I? My whole life should be about thanking them, right? And it's so wrong to me to think that I could, that my identity should do anything in the contrary to what they know, what they think, what they believe. And so I was really enmeshed with both my belief system and my parents at the time, and I operated from a place of obvious trauma. I mean, you can go up and look up the results of these things, but so all that abandonment stuff, I didn't know how to make friends, I didn't know how to make family, I had a lot of self-hatred, I hated myself, I didn't know how to express myself, I just was not in my skin. Like my whole life I was watching my life, I was not living my life, I was not being myself. It was very, very difficult, very challenging, and I've always been artistic and always been a very passionate person. And so, of course, with the hero complex and all these sorts of things, there came a point where within this religious organization where I was a leader, I was the go-to guy. I knew all of the scriptures. I used to go out. I used to go out on campus at Cal State Fullerton, and I like, for example, one time I read from the book of Romans where it says, they neither gave thanks to God nor glorified of God, and as such they're futile. The thinking became futile, and so God gave them over to the sinful desires of their heart and all this kind of stuff. I read all of that in front of people, in front of thousands of people, with people mocking me. I experienced humiliation. I used to stand up in my choir. I hated doing it. I mean, just think of like what it felt like to do that, and also to be like with your child abandonment at the same time. It was so fucked up. It was so fucked up in so many ways. But I would stand up in front of these people and inquire and say, hey, and I didn't want to say it like this, but the scripture says it. It says, I did not come to you with the words, with fancy words and kindness, but I came to you, in humility and with the simple truth. I wasn't trying to win you over by, here's pizza, come to our college campus group. I was doing the work. I was doing the work, and I was crying every day. Dang. I remember one time I fasted for 7 days. I didn't eat for 7 days straight. I just had water, and I was trying to resolve the issue of my sexuality. And but I did all of the work, all of the scary stuff that the scriptures talk about. I did it. I just got really sick of it, and it was devastating because at the same time in my life, I realized that I had not been protected. I'd been manipulated. That people were not honest. That people were not real, and that I had gone through this double humiliation like my entire life. It was very difficult. And at the same time I was coming out, I thought God was gonna kill me. I thought I was not believing, and I should believe in something that didn't make sense, and that's what God wanted for me. And so I tried to start dating, and I wanted to accidentally fall in love, that way it wouldn't be my fault. So I went on Grindr. I went on Grindr, And of course I was also horny, and I had never slept with anybody my whole life. See, it's like both things are true. Both things are true. I was a fuckboy, and I was also somebody who wanted to love somebody.
Gee.
So I went on there, and and then I got with some people, and I'm like, and I was obviously devastated after that, because I always wanted to be in love with somebody.
Shame.
I wanted to be in love with somebody, but also it was so dangerous what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How so?
Hey, like. You want to come over and suck? I don't know who you are. Come over at 12 o'clock. Walk across the street. Hey, cross over this room over here. And now we're gonna do this. That's what people do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no joke right there.
Yeah. So.
Well, you like in your.
So.
Oh yeah, all the dates at your house. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey,
so
I'll show you my lock app.
So
different codes.
And there's more to that than just that. There's ways to. Anyway, so
perpetrate.
So
sex.
then there was this moment where I was like, okay, let's try and figure this out. And I went to Marshall's, and I thought, I'd never. You had to understand, I was not allowed to even be in my own mind when I was in high school. So I was growing up, wanting to be loved, feeling these feelings. But you're not even allowed to look. You're not allowed to look. You're not even allowed to feel it in your own brain. So you're hiding from yourself within yourself. You're sleeping at night and in your own bed, and you're not allowed to think, oh, I have a crush on somebody. You're not even allowed to feel that for yourself. You see what I'm saying? That's not even there. And so this point came right when I was about to get my degree, and during finals week, I went to Marshall's and I bought two. It was during COVID. So I bought 2 wine glasses. I bought 2 bottles of Martinelli's because I don't really like alcohol, but I like Martinelli's. And I'm not an alcohol prude, okay? I just don't
sparkling
like the flavor
cider.
of it. Yeah.
I like sparkling cider.
Yeah, and so
you probably do.
I'm
kidding.
So I bought 2 things of Martinelli's. I bought this really cute outfit, and I felt like I was in my youth. I'd always felt like an old man my whole life. And I expect all my friends were all older, way older than me, 40 to like 60 and above. I couldn't relate to other people from the trauma, but also right. But also now that I'm on the other side, I understood that I was also very emotionally immature because I needed to be a child at the same time. A lot of people get that mixed up when they're kids and they have trauma. But anyway, so I bought this stuff and I tried to go on a date with somebody, and I was like, come on, let's do this, and you can have your glass and I can have mine. And I bought a candle, and I just wanted to sit on the sidewalk with somebody and just feel a connection I'm allowed to feel. And I felt like I was about to abandon my God. I was about to abandon my entire community that so quote unquote like rescued me. My parents. I'm on the edge of the world, and it was intense. And then I met up with somebody, and they I think they scratched me or something on purpose. And then I contracted HIV, and I didn't know that I had got HIV, but my body started breaking down. I went blind twice.
Off a scratch?
Yes, HIV is no.
Yeah, blood.
Okay, ready for a visual? So like fingering me and then scratching with their fingernail.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
no. Shit.
Right, and so but I didn't know that, and also to be fair, on that date I was totally like, well, I hadn't decided to fully be gay or to fully give up my religion. I'm like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Okay.
And I don't care about what other people's needs are. So I went into this thing with this sort of half-ass attitude kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wasn't being completely real. I think that's where the real danger of that interaction was and why that happened. But I contracted HIV. I went blind twice. I stopped losing my ability to walk. At the same time, I had like a mental breakdown because I realized that my organization was a cult. The night that happened, literally the night that happened, I read this article on New York Times. I was like, is it a cult? And sure enough, this article, and this is how they do their stuff. And this is
who is it? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not bad people, but they're people living in ignorance and fear, and that can cause destruction. Sorry.
Sheesh.
I love those people still, but doesn't make what they do right.
Right.
You can be good and bad at the same time.
Right.
That's life.
True.
You can have good intentions and be doing bad things.
Yeah. Sometimes your good intentions are also bad intentions.
Yeah.
Right? Like I want to have a family, and I want to have safety, and I want to be moral, but I know this is kind of not true, but I'm not going to be a man and face this fact.
Right.
For my family, I'm actually just going to lie to my children.
Right. lie to myself, lie to my wife. Yeah.
Exactly. Instead of facing it. And it's scary, but that's the reality. I have to face it. Other people face it.
Yeah.
I think it's more common than people. I don't think people think about it, but I think it's very common.
It is, definitely. And so then I was in this mental hospital. Again, nobody's saying, oh, no, yeah, this is wrong. This did happen. This is a cult. I have nobody in my life to say that. So I went through this whole thing, and then, 7 people tried to kill me in a mental hospital at the same time. The doctors didn't believe I had HIV. They wouldn't let me get tested because they thought I was putting on an act.
Fuck that. That makes... No, like for me, I'm okay. Here's the proof. It's blood, right? Bro, test me. Oh, what? Bro.
Science.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
so
hello.
I was not getting treatment, and then I was also just stuck in there. And then I got out, and I was like, okay, after all this happened, it completely transformed me. Before, I was very much like, all right, if someone's going to kill me, they're going to kill me.
Fuck. Come try and kill me. No, I'm kidding.
They're going to kill me. Now I'm
That's nuts.
I actually sleep with a machete next to my bed.
Bruh.
Yeah, if you cross, and it's not like, oh, you made me angry, I'm going to kill you, but it's like, you try to cross me and threaten me, I will fuck you up. No hesitation. Like, in terms of, now I know it's
like at home or what? What's going on?
What I'm saying is, I'm not talking about
chopping with the machete.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if it was a time of war and somebody came into my house and was trying to kill me with a gun, I'm going to defend myself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do my best to preserve. I guess to you that sounds normal. To me, that was abnormal.
Oh yeah. Oh.
You're not allowed to defend yourself.
What? Who said this?
According to the scriptures.
What scriptures?
In the New Testament.
Is it?
Yes.
You see how I don't read the Bible.
Yes.
I'm so off on this.
Yeah, and most Christians, they don't follow it because they don't
You're
follow it
supposed
because
to
they don't
turn
want
the other
to.
cheek, right?
They don't want to. Yeah, your treasures are stored up in heaven, right? So that's not how that works. That's not how the story of Jesus worked. That's why everybody was mad at him. You're not going to go kill these motherfuckers trying to kill you. Are you out your damn mind? You're weak as fuck. That's the whole premise of the story. But people don't like to look at that because they know that's not real. That's not real and it doesn't make sense. And it's not even a healthy mindset to have. No. So they don't live that way.
To be a martyr.
No, people don't want to be. Exactly. These people were being thrown to lions, decapitated, sawed in two.
Hung on a cross.
That's his story. That's his story. That's his story.
It's history. It really happened. Yeah.
Okay, and I took all that stuff seriously. I think to a level as a child because I had seen my family member die. People can come and go. I was having to realize all of these deep life facts at a very young age that most people they're not gonna experience a death of a loved one or some kind of severe trauma until they're way later. They don't even understand it. They may know the words, they may have seen stories, but they don't understand.
Yeah, to actually experience that,
exactly.
It's how you're like, oh, well, that person did this, or like, oh, I still have your name on my phone, and it's like, oh, it was that number, It's
so when the scriptures say you will be rejected by everyone and hated by everyone, I go as a child who was adopted and who experienced starvation and who was literally left by his family. I go, oh, that's possible. Okay, I don't want that. When other kids who have a stable, they're existing within a perfect example of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. On the bottom right, food, shelter, safety, and then you have all those other things. Access to critical reasoning on the top because you have that.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully.
They have that, so they're not reading this story and going, that could happen, let me act in accordance to this wisdom. They're just like, oh, that was interesting, read.
They choose ignorance.
So after all this happened, I started working on myself and I started looking up resources. And this is probably the most important point. I couldn't even have... You're not allowed to look at resources that go against the scriptures, because that would be wrong. You know what I'm saying? So
that's secular, and it's against.
But that was all the stuff that was good that helped me work through my life trauma.
Exactly. Blasphemy,
I'm like, I can't look up this child therapy. This person says they're Buddhist. I can't watch that.
Right.
That'd be against God. How can I do that? I'm going to burn in hell for watching this. This person doesn't believe in God. How can I listen to the fact that they're telling me that it's okay to be gay? So that first step was kind of critical, that like the destruction of my worldview was critical for me being able to help myself. Because without that, I would have been going to only Christian resources, which are not based in historical facts, which are not based in reality, which
or
are
facts at all.
No, which are fundamentally they are preservationalist, if that makes sense. I'm not making up words here, but they're all about the preservation of your life and the experience of safety over truth. So it's about building up a worldview that creates the illusion of safety so that you feel control. Because at the end of the day, human beings need to feel control in order to feel safe. That's how most people's minds work.
That is so true.
So I started working on myself, and then all this self-help stuff you can watch. So my favorite people are Crappy Childhood Fairy. She's great. What's that other guy's name? Therapy in a Nutshell. Wait. These people changed my life. And I'm telling you guys, I used to listen to the Bible for hours every day, and then I would go out and do it. Crappy Childhood Fairy. Anna Runkle, that's her name. Anna Runkle. But if you look at Crappy Childhood Fairy, you'll find she's the shit. Love her. Therapy in a Nutshell. And then when you look up the two of them, the other guy will come up. I can't forget his name. He wears glasses.
Yeah, he's
kind of OCD. I love this guy. He's awesome.
Not Dr. Joe Dispenza.
No. When you type up those two, he'll probably come up.
Good to know.
He's locked and loaded. Look at him.
Good to know.
Sheesh. All right. So, how do you now kind of, I guess, is it easier to be you because now you know who you are as a person? You're like, okay.
It's easier to be me? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, be like, oh, I'm in the store and I just go, ha. I'm like, how does he sing so awesome?
Yeah. So
no, it's nuts.
So if you want something you never had, you got to do what you never done.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, I am not the best singer in the world. I'm not the best composer in the world. I'm not the smartest artist. I don't know everything. But what I do know is if you want to get somewhere, you have to ask yourself what you're not doing, and then you got to ask yourself, am I willing to do it? So what are the other artists out there doing? Well, I'm going to send this email out to this organization and tell them I want to perform at their venue. You know what they're going to do? We're not going to read it.
Yeah.
Or they're going to say, oh yeah, there's 1,000 other people doing that.
Yeah.
But nobody has the balls to go out and show up randomly to somebody's venue and just open their mouth and start singing. But I do. And I had to learn how to do that because my whole life was literally designed as almost an exercise in that. Right? Okay, now we're going to go from this family. Now we're with a Jamaican family. How do I fit in? You know, now I'm with these people. Now I'm going on campus and everybody hates me because I'm religious. You know, and now I have to go preach the word in front of everybody. Now I have to. It was always this overexposure, throwing yourself out there. So, and it helped me a lot with my acting too. But it's funny. My weakness, or not even my weakness, but kind of like my cross, so to speak. It became like my strongest suit, and that's why I get the kind of work that I can do. And also because I've developed such a is the word appreciation? That's not the right word. I'm just so close to life. Like, you have to understand, like, imagine 7 people crowding around you and you don't have the ability to barely move. I was eating food, like I was bringing this food up to my hands, like about this slow, could barely move. Imagine 7 people trying to get around you and trying to kill you. You understand something that's the word that comes to mind is organic. The organic nature of how your body, like, is related to the world. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even describe it to you. Like, when you're close to death like that, it's just something so profound, and it gives you such a profound amount of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And you learn that you don't have that much control, and so the fear of other societal stuff, like, oh, people are gonna laugh at me if I'm singing in the store. I'm like, I don't give a f if people laugh at me when I'm singing in the store.
That says more about them than you.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think what you were trying to explain to maybe summed up by a phrase I learned in AA, an attitude of gratitude. Being like grateful for life, like just instead of being afraid and all these things that insecurities that hold us back. You just have this gratitude for just being, like, you woke up today and so you're gonna do what you feel drives you, like what you're driven to do, regardless of what people think or what they're gonna say or if they're gonna reject you or.
Exactly. In the morning, I when you see me happy in the store, I am fucking happy. And let me tell you, like, what I don't tell people is like, oh well, I had to return groceries. I don't have any money. I have nobody to call to talk about this specific religious trauma. You know what I mean? I'm going through that stuff. There's nights where I don't want to get out of bed. There's some days where I'm like, oh man, but I'm so quick to turn it over because I've experienced these things, and I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. Sometimes it's funny. I'll literally be sitting there, my brain will be doing its thing. Oh, this happened to me. Oh, people tried to kill me. Oh, my mom this. Oh, my community, I lost my friends. And I'm like, all right. Yeah. Well, it's not a woe me. It's not a woe me. That's grief is real, and it has to be processed, and it has to be, you have to like acknowledge that you're suffering, and I think it's unhealthy to not acknowledge the pain and the implications of that, because what that creates is a lack of compassion when you interact with others, because then you'll go, oh well, woe is you.
I think I got that,
right? Right. So it's I have that sometimes too. Sheesh. But I literally I watch it and I go, all right, do your thing. Sometimes I'll be like, even though like I'm feeling it, I'm like, yeah, whatever, do your thing, because my body, because our bodies are also are biological, so they have their systems. Our memory's not just our thoughts; it's also stored right in the neurons in certain parts of our brain. So sometimes our body's just doing its body thing. I know that success follows an archetypal curve. I know that oh, they came from nothing and they had the hard thing and then they went through more hard things and then this and then they kept trying, but they didn't give up that day and then they got up. We're in the age of social media. We watch this shit all the time. So you just gotta believe it, right? Like this shit. All right, I'll just sit here. I guess I don't have food tonight, but that's okay. I'm gonna go drink some water. I'm gonna go for a walk and go for a run. I'm gonna come back. Then I'm gonna cry because my body needs to cry. Maybe because I need to cry. I'm gonna feel it. Let myself feel it, and then I'm gonna get up. That happened this week. It's fine. And then when I go out amongst people, I'm like, my joy and my happiness. It's there because I know I'm alive. And I think it's what he's talking about, the gratitude thing too. But yeah.
So, I have to ask, how do you guys know each other?
From work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You worked together in the past?
No. So just, okay. At work, I'm just, at work, and he like.
As a patron?
Yes.
Okay.
As a, yeah,
you're like, customer.
Food. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, he was just like, I'm like, what is going on?
You had to talk to him.
Of course, we're like, that's weird. And then I'm like, oh, he's got heels on and he's got a hat. And we're like, yeah, he's hot. Yeah, he's strange. Shade. Oh, wow. No, so like, for that. And then after a while, I'm like, I'm going to go talk to him, say hi,
First step's always the hardest.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, how's it going? And then, just kind of we went from there. I'm like, oh, you're a songwriter, And then I would say like it was, I would say like a month ago, we actually spoke. You're like, oh, I was, hurt. I was, when I was younger, I was in the foster system. I'm like, me too. Whoa, so cool. High five ish. Right. So yeah, it's, I would say, up to a point, it's not fun to be around people at that age who you don't know. Right, you're like, oh, who are you? Oh, you're only here for a week or two. Oh, cool. Say bye. Like it's, but it happens. But yeah, that's how we met. But yeah, cool. Yeah, he has awesome. So just be like, like just.
I don't know.
An example.
I let it fall on my heart, and as it fell, you rose to claim.
Oh, some Adele. Sheesh. Oh yeah. Yeah, her. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's got an awesome voice.
I didn't even know that was Adele until you said it.
I like Adele.
Probably if you would have continued, I would have recognized it. But
dang, wow. No, you wouldn't have.
Hey, I'm not. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
my musical taste is very eclectic. So
that's good.
Yeah. So for me, it's like it's like the old school hard stuff, and then it's like more and stuff like that. And I'm like, my God, I get amped. Yeah,
I like metal.
Yeah,
I like screamo.
Me too.
Screamo. All right, let's see. So we were over the apps and all that kind of stuff. That's very apps. That's very interesting. Yeah, you got experience on those apps.
But I've never used OkCupid, so I'm kind of curious about that. What sets that apart, or why you enjoy it?
Why did I enjoy it? I need to remember it's because it's been a minute.
Guys, I have no idea on these apps.
Well, one thing, you can't exchange photos, which, look, We all know what's running in the back of our minds. We know when we say we want a real relationship, and we're, but we also kind of want to flirt around at the same time, and then we go, oh, I shouldn't have sent those pictures, and I didn't really want to do that. Yes, you did, because you want that at the same time, because you want to have sex, and you want to be in a serious relationship. We all know it, right? But OkCupid sets us apart, self apart, because you can't do that. You can't do that on there. So it's all just messages,
text.
You know what I'm saying? And I also just like how you can talk to anybody in the world, and honestly, that's the only dating app that I've used that has that framework. And I know there's others. There's one like for Asians, and then there's one. Well, it's not for Asians, but everybody knows there's only Asians on there, which is great. We all have our little, a little place, but But that's the only one I've used like that, so I don't know if there's others like that. So I'm comparing OkCupid to Grindr. Okay.
So is it like does it have do they have a messaging, like separate messaging app that you can use to just talk to anyone in the world, or are you saying you can actually see people?
Yeah, you can see people. Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah. Shit, he's about to jump on
without having to pay.
That's great.
I'm a traveler. I am a traveler.
Different area codes.
I fancy myself a traveler.
Area code. Sorry. Anyways, all right. Oh my gosh. So what certain things to help whoever out there to be more open, about it?
To what? Or about what? What do you mean?
Yeah, open about
accepting people, or like opening up yourself to people.
Actually, yeah. Well, let's do it like for you to be who you are. Be like, okay, I'm me. This is who I am, and then also around other people as well.
So generally, you want to know what is my advice that I would give to people to help them to be themselves, be authentic.
Yeah.
Okay, be authentic. I would say, first of all, find out what makes you afraid. Well, maybe this is not first of all, right?
Afraid. Okay.
We always have to organize it this way, but find out what makes you afraid and ask yourself, why are you afraid? Right? Because sometimes our wants are buried in our fears. I actually had a really great conversation this morning with my friend who is a director, and she wants to get music lessons with me. And she was saying all this stuff, and I was like, here, I want you to do something. I want you to imagine yourself, take away like money and all of your lack of character and everything that's your issue, okay? Whatever issues you have in your life. And I want you to tell me, what do you see yourself doing? Who are you? What are you doing? But I don't put any language in front of it, right? Just say I am, right? Even if you're not there yet. And she had a hard time doing this, right? And because she kept wanting to say, oh, well, I want to, I think that I would probably be able to. And that's because it's the lack of belief, lack of faith in self, right?
100%.
So eventually she was like, okay, well, I'm a director and I'm working on a movie and this, and then she started crying and getting emotional and so she has things that she's afraid of, but don't live life from the framework of your fear. Like, address your fear and don't be afraid to feel your fear and accept that you have it. That's one thing that I do all the time, and it helps me with performance as well. When I get on stage, it's very kind of dangerous to be like, oh, I'm not nervous right now, because then your system in your body knows the truth. So your body starts doing things while your mind is moving in a different direction. And to get them to collaborate, you have to have humility a lot of times. And you say, I am afraid. Oh, man, I'm a performer, and I'm scared of this performance.
I'm shaking right now.
Yeah. And you ask yourself, why am I scared? Is that valid? I don't want to be scared, but I still am. And then you have this dialogue, and you notice stuff will clear up real fucking fast.
That there's the turning point or the threshold that turns fear from debilitating into motivating.
Right, exactly. So I would say...
You're smart over here. Look at it.
He is. He's intelligent. Come on, sit on my face. Let's do this. It's on his shirt, guys.
It is.
Oh, I did.
No, but also... No, I'm kidding.
Okay. I didn't read his shit.
He's like, whoa! See, no fear. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
And then also, allow yourself to live in the gray. The biggest problem that society has in general, and this applies to you. I think it starts a lot of things, not everything, but a lot of things start with you as an individual, how you interact with people around you, and then it builds up from there, right? But so many of our issues is all centered around the concept of identity, right? And identity is this thing that it is composed of things that we're not in control of. For example, my skin's black and that's in my genetics. But there are also things that develop in life about surrounding what that means to me, right? And what it means to me is not set in stone. And because human beings, like, we're built to survive. Like, that's the goal. That's the first goal, is to be able to live as an animal, as a creature, right? So identity, it helps to achieve this goal. If you just want to break things down, it helps to achieve this goal by giving us the illusion of understanding, because if we understand how to operate in this world, we understand who we are, then we can analyze threats. We know how to move around. We know who likes us. We know who doesn't like us. We have control, right? And control is power. So when we lose our identity, when my religion becomes fake, when I discover I like men, when I discover that I actually really hate this job, even though I've told myself I love it my whole life, and I was just loving it because I wanted to prove to people that I am really a good person, or I wanted to prove to my dad, who was emotionally abusive, that I'm a hard worker, whatever it is, right?
So he's proud of you, and your worth.
So when identity disappears, what it signals to the mind is like a life or death threat, which is why we become paralyzed, which is why we can't move, which is why we can't get out of bed, right? Yeah. Which is why it becomes so difficult. So if you let go of the idea that knowing who you are is your biggest weapon to controlling your life and being in charge of your life, you're able to be more creative and more present in the moment, and make decisions rather not based on fear, but off of exploration. And identity, instead of being something intrinsic that belongs to you, identity becomes something that is a creative process. And you get to explore life. You get to say, wow, I wonder what I'm going to do next. Oh, I am black. Oh, I am a man. This is a scary one, but I'm going to say it. I am a man, but what if I change my body parts? I know this is a scary thing.
I was about to hop in that too. This is one of the most
difficult things for humanity right now.
Yeah, the they, them, right?
Because identity is at the bottom. For most people in their subconscious, identity is at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So when this person becomes a woman and they were a man, and I've lived my whole life believing I'm a man. It's how I function in this world. People tell me, you're a man, so when we go to war, you're going to kill people. You're a man, so you're the example and you're the leader. So if a woman slaps you in the face, you can't slap her back, right? You're a man, so this and that and that. You have structured your whole life and guided your whole life based upon this principle. When you see a man change, that means that necessarily so, because it's a fact. Because it's a fact that you've observed, you have to now question yourself and say, that means I can become a man. That means I can become a woman, sorry. And if I can become a woman, then what things that I believe about myself in my identity, in my core identity, actually are not true, are actually not static, are actually moldable. And if these things are moldable, then I have to confront the gray again. Life's no longer black and white. I no longer have control. I no longer know who I am, how I'm going to behave. That's where all this toxic masculinity stuff's coming from. I was talking to a coworker. I'm also a florist on the side. And
what else?
Yeah, I do a lot. I do a lot of creative stuff. I don't do everything, and I don't have to, but I do a lot of things. I do everything I love, and that's cool. But I was talking to this woman, and she was talking about birthing, and she's like, "Yeah, men can give birth now." What? And I don't like that.
What?
Yeah.
Nah.
Right? And so...
He said that.
And so... Well, it's I'm not going to unpack all that, but she was offended by that. She's like, no, I just feel like women, this is something that women have always had. And this is something that, it's a beautiful part of being a woman. So she didn't like it because she felt possessive over this aspect of her identity. And she didn't like that men were getting it because now I have to question myself, well, if it's not special to me... If that doesn't define me as a woman, the ability to give birth, then what does? And I don't want to answer that question. You know why? Because I'm in the middle of my life. I'm already married. What other options are there that I haven't explored? It feels like it's a difference between swimming around in a community pool and swimming around in the ocean. Those are two very different experiences.
Yeah.
You're in water, you know it's water, but you don't know how much water there is in one. And in the other, you know exactly how much water there is. Right? The pool is like identity, and the ocean...
It's like, oh, there's a shark.
The ocean for the healthy person, for the healthy mind, is creativity. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny, and I think that this side of living, where I accept that things are great, that's where all those principles you find in religious books like the Quran and like the Bible, where faith is actually real. Because faith, you'll notice like in these books, God was like, hey, you know what? I want you to take your son and I want you to kill him today. Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't think this person was not like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound right. Mm-hmm. Even the whole foundation of Christianity is this guy coming up and going against all these rules that are written down. To be fair, like, right, the Pharisees, all these guys, mm-hmm. they were doing what it said to do. And this guy was blaspheming according to what they were saying, right? But he said, I'm talking within the context of the religion, he observed something different, and he was, within the story, within your belief system, right, if it's yours, he was following God, which was going against what was known, what was the standard, right? Mm-hmm. Which is living in the gray. You don't have control, right? That's that. And I think it's so funny too, as far as identity is concerned, you don't need to look any further than the necessities put forth by language. So, like for example, describe one thing about yourself.
Awesome.
No, I want you to put in a sentence.
I am an awesome person.
Okay, good. Ugh. You, one thing, short.
I'm a smart person.
Good. You, another thing.
Sheesh. I am sitting down. This is like a tester.
I'll say one. I am balding. Okay.
Bro, I'm already there. It said...
I know you have me beat, bro.
Deuce. So, it's not something to be proud about.
So now, this is not true of all languages because the grammatical structure is different. And I study them all the time. So if you speak another language, you know what I'm talking about.
Fool's smart as hell.
But for example, listen to what they said. Right. Listen to what they said. They said what? I am blank. Mm-hmm. I am blank. I am blank. So the first thing that you got to be is. You got to be. Mm-hmm. I am.
Mm-hmm. The action.
And it's funny because when you look in the scriptures, what is the actual translation of the name for God? It's I am, yep. Right? Mm-hmm. It's not defined.
I'm like...
because that's not life. Life is not defined. Mm-hmm. And so when you exist in that space, I am, and then you learn that everything you put after that is just creativity. It's just the thing. Mm-hmm. Even if it seems like it's set in stone for now, I have 5 fingers. I am a man with 5 fingers. It doesn't have to be that way. Right? So, there you go.
A lot of it is choice.
That's right.
Some of it is circumstance, happenstance, but a lot of it is choice.
Absolutely.
So, you hear it everywhere about the them and they, all that extra stuff. How do you be like, are you like a they or them? All their own.
There's a couple things.
Let me
pronouns.
Interject real quick. That's a decision that they make, right? Okay. And my perception of them or my opinion is not necessarily that. But that's okay. It's all okay. Like,
no, you can't have this. Like, bro.
Right. So what I think of them, what I perceive them as, may not necessarily be what they think of themselves. And the way I look at it for myself is, your opinion of me is none of my business.
Exactly.
And that
I've heard that before. I love that quote.
It's when talking about identity, it's helped clear those kind of hang-ups that I had late teens, early 20s, mid 20s even, of who am I, what am I doing, why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Yeah.
The only reason it matters is if I care what you think of me.
Exactly.
So, anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, that's valid. That's huge. Damn, we got smart people on the panel.
So, there's a couple things. I look at this from the perspective of creativity. Mm-hmm. Identity is a creative process that we're participating in. And from the perspective of practicality, right? And if you're an artist or a craftsman, you understand this because you've probably been through this yourself. But you're starting out your art, like, for example, me as a musician. And I've got all of these tools, and I just want to be different. I want to be I want to be something and I want to make it up. And that's a beautiful thing. It's important. We discover our style, we discover our voice through this dialogue and through this experience. But then, you know, for me, for example, I'm like, I'm going to take all the measures out of my music, and then I'm not going to use any theory, and then I'm not going to do anything, and I want to be undefined, and I want to just be... But there comes a point where you have to understand the practicality of needing to live, needing to function. I need musicians to know what I mean on the page.
There's a reason for some structure. Right?
I need the musicians to know what I mean on the page. So what I'm not going to do is, I'm not going to diminish my value. I'm not going to diminish my worth. And this is a difficult thing to realize and to swallow, but it doesn't diminish my excellence, my creativity, my ownership of myself or my product or my work or how I live life. It doesn't diminish this if I choose to put it within a system that will help other people be able to function with me, to be able to collaborate with me, to greet me in the morning. If we have, let's talk about this from a functional standpoint. If you want me to call each person their own pronoun, if everybody in the world makes their own pronoun, like, oh, no, that's never going to happen. Okay, well, you have to set up logical conversations this way in order to understand, right? So if everybody does this, you're going to have 8 billion, how many people on the earth, different things. Mm-hmm. So how am I gonna write an essay to prove a point, to help this thing over here, or to whatever, right? I won't be able to, because I'm gonna be doing the whole time searching for my pronouns and all of this stuff, right? So you have to put things into something that's gonna be functional, and I'm not saying that any of these new ones are not functional, but what I am saying is we need to find a system. And people who want to get creative outside of the system, still be creative, but have the humility and help people out, and let's figure out solutions rather than just making it all about, oh, myself and my identity. Oh, I'm an artist, and you know what? I don't believe in a downbeat when I'm composing, so I'm not going to give it to you. Well, everybody else has been trained with a downbeat, so you know what? Nobody's going to come in on time in the orchestra. See how selfish that is, and how immature that is? And but there is also the aspect of the creativity that I think is really important, because how we speak about our life becomes our life, right?
So true.
You're a nigga. You can't hang out with me. That language will do something, right?
100%.
Hey, we're different people. You're black. Hey, that's cool. That's, you know... That's communicating something completely different. So one thing that I think is positive in these pronouns, I think they is getting closer philosophically to what we really are as human beings. And the reason why is because if I cut off my arm, am I still grand?
Shit, you're gonna cut off your arm?
Well, if I lose my arm,
I'm kidding. Yeah,
right,
I got you.
If I lose my arm, am I still grand?
Right.
Yeah.
If I choose to have a vagina tomorrow, am I still grand? If I choose to do this, am I still grand? Yeah. So the he, him doesn't fit in with our intellect, which I think, from an evolutionary standpoint, our sense of self and our thoughts and our what's a better word for this? Not our soul, but our consciousness. We're learning more and more is not forcibly connected to our bodies. I know that's scary for some people to accept, but it's just the truth. It's just the truth.
Prove it.
I just did. I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
This guy, he's just trying to copy me. He's just trying to copy me.
No, he did. Well, I just did logistically. If I lose all my limbs, I'm still me.
Yeah.
If I get a prosthetic limb or a prosthetic organ,
you're still
I'm still me. So you 100%. Can't argue with that. You cannot.
I'll argue with it all day. No, I was kidding.
So I think the they them is moving more in line with what I was proving before earlier, as far as like I have to say I am a cook. I am balding. I am into chains. I like this chain.
Fresh.
So it's getting more in line with an identity, like who we are, a descriptive way of describing ourselves as human beings that's more true to reality. Does that make sense? And that's why I think that's helpful. But from like a medical standpoint, we need to know what genitals you have so that we can help you.
Right.
We need to know right now in this moment. People need to know that.
Because science is definitive. Science, it is absolute. There are, there's a reason. I mean, math, science, they are.
It's proven up to a point.
Yeah, they're very specific. It's not a theory.
Right. And then maybe, if you are, maybe we need to invent terms for like, well, if you become this, then that is this, and we'll use that for you. You know what I mean? But
something that isn't mutation or
right. We got yeah, exactly.
Has a negative context.
Right, exactly. So we got to figure out what that is. But in the meantime, you shouldn't be one of those people that's like, if you look like a woman and you have a penis. Mm-hmm. It is
makes me angry.
It is a mediocre worldview and attitude to like be angry at somebody mm-hmm. because they think you're a woman or call you she. Mm-hmm.
Shit, that's hard real. On me too, because right. I'm like, I thought
you need to calm down. There's no way for them to know that.
I did have a thought when you were talking about how if all 8 billion people on Earth were had their own pronouns, right? The thought that I had was kind of the they them and then you're using this new definition. You're defining yourself in some way different. You're not providing that, like you said, providing information or structure for other people. It's selfish, but the part that I don't get that kind of makes me scratch my head is the fact that you want to define yourself as this new whatever, but you're not going to give any information, and then you're going to chastise when people don't understand it or can't, don't have that information that you're keeping from them.
Exactly. And, from kind of a psychological perspective, because some of you are probably watching this and I have not heard anybody have a conversation like this about this topic yet that actually meant something outside of people being angry and making content. Mm-hmm. So if this is you and you're one of those people doing this, it's not like you're the worst person in the world,
right?
But we have to work with this, and I think you have to ask yourself, first of all, why am I doing this, and what do I get out of this? Because you do. And here's what I think people get out of it. I could be wrong, or some of people get out of it. They get a sense of possessiveness. This is mine, and you can't touch it. This is a piece of my identity, and you can't have it, and you can't control it. And like he said, that there is good kinds of selfishness, actually, right? But that's not a helpful kind, right? And that comes from also it comes from an immaturity and an undeveloped sense of self. Because really, what that says is, if other people can describe me, then that means they may have control over me, which means I no longer have control over myself.
Yeah, but it's their body, okay? It's their emotions. All right.
Well, they
do. Without the expectation of being known, right, or of being understood, then that's fine. If you go, if you create this new whatever description or identity or whatever you want to call it, and then you go through the world and you don't get upset when people may misjudge or miscategorize or whatever, then that's fine, because you're not creating that confrontation. Right. That's what it is, and that's what it is.
That's the problem.
They're creating confrontation. Exactly. They have this need for confrontation because then that will get. Then they'll be known. Then they'll be heard. Then
shit, I don't got time for that shit.
Yeah,
me either. But
exactly. And so I think you just have to arrive, and it takes some work. I'm working on this myself. Actually, you have to work on teaching yourself that me sharing my identity with people and revealing it and letting it be accessible does not give away my right to it, my control over it, my ability to change, the fact that it's special. Right? And I'm going through this myself in a different way, though. Like, in terms of people, I have a hard time letting people in my life and part of that's understandable. Like, my whole life, you just heard all the shit that I've been through.
People leave.
Right. And well, not just the people leaving, but people defining who I am and telling me and then me having to believe it. I haven't really spent a majority of my life just practicing being me. So when people come in, I feel like, what if they, try to gaslight me into thinking that what if this happens? What if this happens? But that's coming from a place of fear, and the reason why I have that fear is because I don't really have a solid foundation and sense of self, right? And that's something that you have to work towards, and that's okay, right?
Oh yeah, every day.
It's constant. Okay. Yep, it never stops.
That's okay.
Yeah, and I would say for me, because I have a speech problem, going up to somebody and saying hi, like, oh, how's your day? Or, all that kind of stuff. For me, I'm like, oh, I don't know what they're going to say, bro. I don't care if they like me. You know, hey, if you do, cool. If you're like smart or whatever, hey, cool, awesome, high five. I hope you have a great day. Don't care. But yeah, I had to, you know, certain things right there. I had to hop in as well. You know, because it's like, oh, you look cute. I want to go on a date, but I can't ask you, and then you're all alone for the rest of your life.
So this all applies to dating, because without any of this work that's been done, without, you know, you're not you. You're not putting forth the real you to anyone else. Honestly, do you really love yourself if you haven't taken the time to do this stuff? Do you really respect yourself? And if you don't, how can you expect anybody to love you, respect you, you know, all these things? So
exactly,
I'm gonna fix you.
Right. Oof.
Right. And the work
so much codependency in the world.
The work that you have to do on yourself too. Here's something that a lot of you are not going to want to hear.
Say it.
But despite common opinion, you are not going to learn how to swim until you get in the water. So some people have this mindset where it's like, I'm just going to work my whole life to love myself, and then I'm going to be ready for a relationship. No. You can't. How can you say, like, that's me saying, I'm going to practice having a piano, and once I have this piano in my room for long enough, then I'm going to go play it. And then I'm going to go play it. No, you need to play the piano in order to learn how it works. So with relationships, you can't think that having perfect boundaries and knowing exactly who you are, or that you're even going to know precisely who you are if you've never even been in a relationship, right? If you're not actively engaging with people, because certain parts of your personality will be exposed in that environment. You can't forcibly know who you are unless you're in that situation. And so that whole facade of like, oh, well, I'm just going to be perfect and know everything who I am. There's a difference between kind of knowing who you are and living in that gray, right? And being like, oh, I'm in the gray, but I kind of know this. I see a fish over there. I see some coral over there, but I still know that there's this ocean out there. There could be a whale in the distance. Who knows? I could be about to die from the shark behind me. Who knows, right? That's a different mindset than, now I lost my train of thought. But that's completely different than if you just sit at home and you're just, or even just go to therapy, or if you're not engaging with another human being.
It's also action.
It's
action on what you know or
because that goes back to the whole control thing, you know, needing to be in control of who you are, and you're just afraid. You're afraid of discovering who you are or taking risks. That's really just a fear mechanism that a lot of people have these days. Yeah, you need to be in a relationship to understand how it works, but you can understand certain things about yourself without a relationship. I think that's what I was trying to say. Sorry I lost my analogy there. But there's certain things you should probably learn by yourself, but there's certain things that you have to learn in a relationship.
There's certain things that you will learn by yourself, or should learn by yourself, but not until after you've been in a relationship. I'm grateful for my twin flame coming into my life 2.5 years ago, because prior to that, I thought I was in a pretty good place, but thankfully she mirrored, you know, she showed me areas where I still needed a lot of work. So reminds me, I'm not gonna, she's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but my current girlfriend, I've explained a situation to her is similar to that, where like you don't know until you do it. With her teaching her daughter how to swim, because she allows her to just, you know, have a life jacket and all this, and, you know, like I said, you need to throw her in. I'm like, the best way to teach someone to swim, and it may not be you can go in with her. You can go in with her. Be in the pool with her, guys. It's not the nicest, but it's how I learned to swim. My dad threw me in. I threw my kids in. And
you better survive.
They're shown by because they have the will to survive. They will do whatever it takes to
just sink to the bottom.
Water. If they don't have the will to survive, then I mean, come on.
Can you imagine if you throw her in, she's like drowning, you're to your girlfriend, you're like, it's okay, she has the will to survive.
No.
Can you imagine? I know that's not what he means. I know that's not what he means.
Good luck.
9 times out of 10, they're gonna be okay, right?
No, I hope it's 10 out of 10, my guy.
I mean, I guess there's probably times where
that's a case right there.
There's probably times where they're not. Hopefully the parent knows CPR. I do, but
or they're like, oh, I don't know about the pool now because I was thrown in. I'm afraid, and then all that stuff. Which, yes, so happens, but bro, you're sketch.
I don't know. I honestly don't know anybody who's been through that who is.
I can't swim.
My kids love the water. They love the ocean. I've always loved the water, love the ocean.
Bro, I can't swim.
I'm gonna throw you in then.
I was kidding. I can swim.
The problem is you're over 6 foot tall, so you're.
Also, do you have the will to survive?
Right. Oh yeah. We don't know about that yet.
Dang. I did jiu-jitsu. You gotta survive. You have the will to survive in that shit because you'd be smothered.
It's true. When you start that's all that you have is the will to survive.
And then, or you're like, I quit. This is too hard. Which what is that? 80 probably most. I don't know.
A lot.
Oh, it's too hard. I'm being a lot. I can't move and I'm being smothered.
I don't like puking after class.
Or in class.
During class, I mean, yeah, during class.
All right, so now we're gonna. What's up? You're gonna say something?
No.
Okay, so now we're gonna hop onto a short film here. I did go online and I was like, Jubilee. All right, so we're gonna hop onto this one so I can have your opinion on this.
For myself as a Christian, as a believer in Jesus Christ, I believe in the power of deliverance. I believe that you can be completely delivered from homosexuality, not only because of what the Bible says, but because of my personal story. You know, I used to have sex with men. I used to dress like a woman, used to, have a desire to possibly be a transgender if it wasn't for the grace of God, but God completely changed my desires. You said that your identity is in Christ, but your identity is also in the LGBTQ. I don't know for sure. Do you identify as somebody in the
right,
LGBTQ?
so like I was saying.
Yeah, hold on that thought. So yeah, so like about
Is that
hashtag free the nipple.
Is that as much as you're gonna play?
No, there's more.
Okay, hold on. Just let me organize my thoughts.
Would you like me to play it again?
Maybe later. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever you're gonna.
There's many things that make me me. When I say that I'm gay, it means that I'm being honest about my attractions. Right. It's not just like sexual, it's also psychological, it's romantic, it's all of these things that I cannot have with a woman.
Sexuality is a choice. Everybody has the right of free will to choose what they want to do, but at the end of the day, our subjection should be to the Word of God. And I can quote numerous scriptures where it says that a man and a woman is forbidden by God. It doesn't mean that God hates the person that's doing that. God loves everybody, but He hates the sin. And it also says that those who approve of such things or those who practice such things will endure hellfire.
So language, guys.
Language.
Our society, the world, our species will evolve so much when we listen to how and not just what. So many people, they're just so misguided because they don't understand fallacies, for example, okay, and how language works. Play it one more time from the beginning.
Sheesh.
For myself as a Christian, as a believer in Jesus Christ, I believe in the power of deliverance. I believe that you can be completely delivered from homosexuality.
Okay, so first thing he said, delivered from homosexuality. So that puts forth the premise, first of all, that homosexuality is bad, that needs to be delivered from. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And it also says that someone else is responsible for
your actions,
moving or changing. Right?
That's true.
Delivered. That's not me. That's something else changing me.
Exactly.
It's the Bible, sir.
Okay. Only because of what the Bible says, but because of my personal story. I used to have sex with men. I used to dress like a woman. Used to, have a desire to possibly be a transgender if it wasn't for the grace of God, but God completely changed my desires. You said that your identity is in Christ, but your identity is also in the LGBTQ. I don't know for sure. Do you identify as somebody in the
right,
LGBTQ?
So like I was saying.
Yeah, so a couple of things. First, this is actually a huge part of my practice. If I'm going to talk about somebody that's not in the room, I'm going to talk to them anyway. So, first of all, respect to all these people who recorded this and to you, bro, that we're talking about right now. And I think it's really important when we talk about things to have a very, very safe space. And safe space doesn't just mean the immediate space, but it also just means the in general, right? So I still view this as a dialogue as though we're in this room. So I totally respect his life experiences, your life experiences, and what all these other people probably said on here too. But there's a couple of things about this. So, one thing I want to put before people, again, back to one of the points that I made earlier, is that the whole premise of Christianity is it's based on what looked like a rebellion to the religious code of the time, right? And the way that the story is told is that these religious people were actually the enemies of God. Or at least that's how it's preached in most churches, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, right, in it for the money and stuff. But it's very unappreciated, the fact that these people, for the most part, they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. It says you're not supposed to do this. It says it's not supposed to do that, right? And Jesus was contrary to that. So I really do feel that a lot of Christians, they forget about that fact. And so have you ever considered the fact that you could be doing that very same thing? You could be those religious people upholding this thing that needs to transition, and you're getting in the way of progress, right? Can we keep playing it?
And there's many things that make me me. When I say that I'm gay, it means that I'm being honest about my attractions. It's not just like sexual, it's also psychological, it's romantic, it's all of these
so what
things.
He's saying there is absolutely true. I'm going to be honest. I have a part of me that's a boy, and I'm like, I like men. Men are fucking hot. You know, sometimes I was like, I just want to do
all of
this.
us have that. Huh.
I just want to do whatever I want to do with my body. But there's also a huge part of me that is very turned off by not having a connection with people, which is why personally I have a hard time with hookup culture. And I don't mean I have a problem with hookup culture. What I mean is it doesn't fit me the way I would like it to, because I would like to think that I can participate and not get attached or not get feelings. But I need that, actually, for me to feel sexually gratified. I feel like it feels better, and it's just better for me when I have something there. So that's
100%. 100%.
Really
what? For 100%. What though? It's a tool. You just use. I'm looking at shit.
Hey, sometimes I'm there. Sometimes I'm there.
I've grown beyond the facade of trying to think that I can hook up. I'm 100% demisexual.
It's hard. It's hard. I don't know how people do it, to be honest. I don't know.
I think ignorance plays a big part.
Now, I do it too. I do it too, but what I mean is, if there is a group of people that are doing it, and they're doing it healthy in terms of their emotions and their bodily safety, I don't know what that technique is. I literally don't. I'm not saying it couldn't be out there. I just don't know. And if it is out there, I want to know. I want to learn masterclass how to hook up and do whatever you want, whenever you want, and keep everybody safe and be emotionally healthy. I want to find that if that's there. But yeah, we're playing it.
That I cannot have with a woman.
Sexuality is a choice. Everybody has the right of free will to choose what they want to do. But at the end of the day,
problem too with that idea that sexuality is a choice. First problem is that it's true. Because like I said, identity is a creative process. Now there could also be I read this stuff all the time, but I don't have all the medical terms and stuff down, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. There could be biological things in terms of hormones and stuff that cause a certain person to incline towards certain desires, things like that. That's definitely true. But as far as behavior is something that we do have control on, how we act in this world, right? And even transgender could be observed as a behavior. It's something you have to go do. That's the verb you have to use to describe it. I'm going to change. Can you do this surgery to me to change that, right? So that's a behavior. But the other problem with this idea of choice is that there's a fallacy just buried like right on the surface, and that's the idea that if it's a choice, it must be wrong, because you can flip it over. If it's a choice, then that means you're choosing to be straight. So doesn't that mean that it also doesn't you're intrinsically straight?
I'm the wrong person to ask about this.
So the way that this whole conversation, and also of course we can just break it down by the simple fact that I'm sorry, but the scriptures and the way that most people teach them do not align with historical facts. And if they do, I want to ask you a question. Why are you paying for an academic experience that is teaching people things contrary, including you, to your God, that could damn you and others around you to hell forever? And if God is all providing, if he owns the camels, I'm misquoting now. If he owns the sheep on 7 hills, if he owns the mountains, if he owns the sky, if he owns the universe, and he can provide anything for you, why are you living a lie by getting all of your social security from things like getting a degree, studying in schools, and participating in these institutions that are teaching you stuff that is contrary to that fact, right? So, I mean, at the base of his arguments, it's just not true because it's not historically factual. I mean, you just, and also he's arguing, he hasn't made a point on why feeling a certain way is bad other than God said. And if we come back to Abraham killing your children, God said. Also, here's a crazy philosophy. Here's a crazy theological question. Does God have a penis?
We're made in his perfect image.
The reason why this is an insane question,
as in they, then I'm kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
The reason why this is an insane question is because you start to understand things like language and what the scriptures are trying to communicate, what the author's trying to communicate. Because if both men and women are made in his image, then what gender is God? Also, if God is a God of order and a God of function, and he creates things according to their function, right? This is an argument. Arguments against transgender and homosexuality are arguments against function. You're using your body for the wrong function, and God doesn't want you to use it that way, right? If God's a God of function, he has a penis, what is he using it for? And if he himself has existed before his creation, then why did he define himself with that thing, and what's the necessity of that organ, right? So then you look at language and you learn to understand, he's described as a father. Why? Because socially speaking, for a lot of human history and in a lot of societies, maleness is connected to leadership, to authority, and to control. And so God can't be a woman because that wouldn't communicate his authority, right?
Shit, this is going to go viral, my guy.
They say, hey, it's been 7 people had to kill me before I could get here. That's all I got to say. Or had to try to kill me, not kill me.
I was like, he is reborn.
I have risen. No.
Reincarnated.
But you start to understand these things and you realize that's completely untrue. Also, it says in the scriptures, in heaven we will neither be married nor given into marriage, for we will be like the angels. And if God is a God of functionality, if you resurrect with your body, with your organs, why do you have those organs? If you're going to be using those organs, who are you going to be using them with if outside of marriage? Can you answer that question? Probably not.
Sheesh.
Right? So is it going to be an orgy up there? I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, but that clearly goes against the scriptures, doesn't it? So you have to look at function as our bodies as this functional thing that's changing over time. And also, if transgender means you were one thing and you were changing to another, this is going to scare some of you guys. You haven't heard this argument anywhere before. But and I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I'm getting all into myself, and
he's pumped right now.
My goal is to, I hope it inspires people and enlightens people and helps people to live more peaceful lives. Like, being right is not the goal, and if I'm wrong, like, I would rather be wrong. So
then you need to tell them.
I don't want it to scare you. Now I'm getting just excited about being right. Okay, so I hope that it challenges you and that you listen to what I'm saying and really try and look for the truth. That's my goal. Let me correct myself. I'm sorry about that. But do you like plants?
Certain plants, yeah.
Okay. If I take a apple tree and I cut off the branch and I put it in the ground, what does it create?
An apple tree.
Right.
Allegedly.
If it creates anything other than an apple tree, what does that mean?
It wasn't an apple tree to begin with.
Or you've altered it.
Yeah.
After taking it out, right?
You've cloned it as something else,
Or it was an apple tree and it was a whatever tree. So now let's go to the creation story. If Adam is a man, if I take a piece of a man and I put it in the ground, it should make a man. So if God is taking the DNA, the host source material out and altering it, was Eve a man first or was she a woman first?
I'm not going that deep into it. Sheesh. Do it.
I
don't know.
It's there then.
So, and I'm not saying that I don't believe in these things anyway, but I'm just saying, if you've not asked yourself these questions, like, right? So you have to look, now you have to, transgender is kind of...
basically a woman.
Transgender is kind of the very basis of man and woman and the formation of it, right? God could have made something else.
Adam and Steve.
Well, I'm saying he could have just taken the dirt of the ground and said, okay, well you're alone. Let me make something that's like you also from the dirt. Mm-hmm. But he took it from Adam. Mm-hmm. I'm not making that up.
His rib.
Okay, so he took his rib. So he cut off a tree of an apple tree, and it made a
orange tree. Yeah.
Orange tree.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting,
right?
Dang, you be going deep into this.
And also our biology, our individual cells possess the potential for both genders.
It's true because it's determined in utero. X, Y, or Y, or just Y, right? Yeah, X, Y, or Y.
So from an argument chromosomes. Of like functionality of history and of theology, it just doesn't line up. And this guy is arguing. You are arguing. If you see this.
They will.
No hate, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Or brah,
sister.
Helps you sleep at night, Dad.
You're arguing from a standpoint of this book says, right? And even your book itself has different variations of it. So
I have an answer of why God has a penis.
Oh, why?
So he can fuck the world.
Oh, damn.
Fucks us all the time.
It's all your perspective, sir.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, shit.
But it's easier for the world to fuck me than, to say that I made this decision. I made this choice.
Also, kind of a scary thing, too. This is on the flip side for everybody. And even on the flip side for me, you have to do this if you're an honest philosopher. But a lot of the arguments like, well, God doesn't exist because why would he let this happen? Well, if you look at nature, I'm sorry, but there is a lot of violence. Mm-hmm. So if God were real, he does not necessarily have to be a moral God.
Right.
And
he enjoys watching that shit.
And he could be, so
he's
the whole morality
sadistic
argument about whether or not there's a God, it doesn't play a role in whether or not there is one. It has nothing to do with it. And I think that God exists, but as a philosophical thing that is not beyond understanding actually, but is beyond the current descriptions that we have of that.
So what about aliens?
Aliens?
Because I just think we aren't that smart, and we were, let's just say we aren't that smart.
Well, haven't we already discovered that? I thought I read that they've discovered bacteria. I hate when people say they. It's the most annoying thing. Like, who's they? But bacteria deep within the crust of which classifies as an organism on
Mars
planet. So,
so do you believe in aliens exist?
Well, if that is true,
hike around here and stuff.
Then I don't believe. Then I know. If that's true, I believe I know.
He believes he knows.
Right? Well, I don't believe. I know.
Oh, it's extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a life form on another planet. It's just this simple life form. So that's an alien.
That's sick. Yeah.
If that's true.
Show me proof. No, I was kidding.
But it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't really matter to anybody, honestly. It doesn't really make a difference.
Again, fear-based.
Like,
something else that's fear-based.
What's the
I don't understand
an angel carrying out disaster and something coming.
The archangel or what?
Yeah, what's the difference between an angel blowing a trumpet, this thing that you can't see, destroying the whole world, and something else coming to destroy the world? It shouldn't be shaking anybody up.
Or a bowl.
What's the difference between an alien coming and wanting to eat you alive and some of this content people be watching where like this guy's like ripping out this woman's intestines and eating her because he's crazy? Which one's scarier? Who cares?
On bath salts, yeah.
Yeah.
Eating someone's face.
Who cares? Violence is violence. Fear is fear. The enemy is the enemy if there is one. Doesn't matter how you describe it.
Right. It's just a difference of how people choose to believe it.
It is an interesting
different
conversation.
face.
It is an interesting conversation.
It's all choice. Choice. Yeah. Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Grande.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
This has been probably one of the best ones we've done yet. It's not the best.
He's humbling.
I appreciate your I appreciate you sharing your knowledge.
I didn't know all that. Bro, you're like scriptures and like facts, which is what we should, but hey, this happened. Hey, you shouldn't do this. Duh. But how we are as humans, yay, we're emotional, yay, said nobody. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And Bryant, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much too. That's why I canceled it, because I haven't had a platform where I could talk about this stuff.
I appreciate that too.
So if I just write a Facebook post and I include all this stuff, people would just think I'm emotionally unstable and writing about things.
Or they'll just scroll right by it. Yeah.
So
where are you at?
Yeah, where can we find you? How can they find you?
Right.
What's your
social
socials?
media. So if you want the penseagrande stuff, which is all my philosophy stuff we talk about, like this, incorporated with my art, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Grande Coles. I'm just saying it that way so you know.
Grande.
GrandeColes. Grande Coles. At Grande Coles. That's the Instagram for my penseagrande stuff. For my music, for just my music, that is my pop music. Because on scene, like, my name is Babe Admiral. Because I was born Babe Admiral Grand Styles Loyal Credo Lyles Creech. Was my original name.
Wait. Your name?
Yeah. Babe Admiral Grand Styles Loyal Credo Lyles Creech. Then when I was adopted, my black mama said, "No, you ain't. People need to know I'm a good mother." It's like, you can choose one name, and then you can choose a middle name. And so I became Grand Sean Coles.
Okay, cool. So I might spell that. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm kidding.
So Babe Admiral, BABEADMIRAL is my other Instagram. No underscore, no anything like that. And then, of course, you can find my music on Spotify, iTunes, pretty much any distributor. That's not the right term, but you know what I'm talking about. Distributors.
Platform.
Platform. There you go. And yeah. So, but my Babe Admiral, that's all just my pop music. So I also do like classical. I also do I can do high complexity. I love all that stuff too. But on there, you're just gonna find that. Does that make sense? It's kind of awesome. Like if Taylor Swift had a fashion line. If you go to Taylor Swift's thing, you're probably just gonna find her music stuff. But actually, she's so big, it probably doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter on her social media.
Yeah.
Right?
She's
but most everywhere. People, right, they may do other things, but you're going to just find that one thing over there. But my favorite thing is my penseagrande thing. Because that's the coolest. I think that's the most I have to give to the world more than my art is what happened today. But I'm putting it into art, if that makes sense. This conversation, but in art.
Shit, this is art right now. I learned a lot. And, dang. Bryant?
Oh, and look up, one more thing I'm going to say. Look up Sexy for No One. I had a panic attack when I was recording the vocals, okay? They are industry standard. They are, but they're not as good as they could be. That's not me being hard on myself. That's just the truth. And if you listen to it, and if you're a musician, you'll be like, yeah, they're okay. They're good enough, right?
What are we talking about?
Itself,
it's a song.
Sexy for No One is the name of the song. Sexy for No One by Babe Admiral. And this song talks about a lot of the stuff we talked about today. But the song sounds great. It makes you want to shake your ass and cry and be sad, but still shake your ass. It's really great.
Wow, that's prophetic.
It's really, really.
And how do you accomplish those two? No, not pathetic. Prophetic.
Yeah, I know, prophetic.
How do you accomplish those two?
Cry and shake your ass.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother podcast. I got answers.
Oh boy, that sounds like trauma.
Dang. It is. Well, with that, we're gonna end it. And again, thank you guys. Thank you all out there, and have a great day or night wherever you are.
Go be good humans.
Vas-y. Peace.